Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. This one is all about how your person is thinking and feeling towards you, what emotions they have towards you, what thoughts they have of you. We're going to be getting into all of it. And today we have a selection of different crystals for you to choose from. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Basically, you are going to see which of these crystals is sticking out to you, calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it. And then as soon as you make up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump right into your pile. By the way, if you like how I read tarot and you want to see more of it, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted readings all about who is coming towards you, as well as details about the early parts of 2025. But honestly, there's so much content over there and new readings go up all the time, so it's hard for me to even remember or keep track of all the recent readings I posted. And like I said, as soon as you sign up, you also get to be the first to see my YouTube videos because they always go up over there first. If all of that sounds good to you and you're interested in joining me over on Patreon, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. Also, if you're looking to book a reading with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, just some channeling, whether you want it to be pre-recorded or live, you get to really customize your reading with me, so it's the perfect reading for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and book a time slot with me. So that's about all I have to say, guys. If you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need. But we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey, pile one, welcome to your reading. So you guys got Sad Embrace, Compass, One Ring Circus, and Wishing Well. So there's definitely a deep feeling of loss coming through. And I feel like this person is saying that it's almost like they were their own worst enemy, is what they're saying. Like, I feel like this person has a very stubborn side to them, and it's almost like they're the kind of person that once they make their mind up, it's very hard for them to change lanes. Maybe they have some fixed placements, like a fixed sun, moon, or Venus. So that could be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. But it feels like when they decide on something, it's very hard for them to kind of change tracks. And I feel like in a way, it's like this person was telling themselves a certain narrative to feel better. Like almost like, I'm just going to decide on this and I'm not even going to look too deep into it. I'm not going to allow myself to introspect. So I feel like now if you're missing from their life now, or you guys are no contact or whatever, there's a really strong sense that it took this person to really feel that loss before they were willing to admit they were wrong. Because I feel like they're the kind of person that will just stick with their gun, stick with their decision, and just that's it, you know? And it's almost like for the longest time, I think they were hoping you would come to them, or that if they were just digging their heels in the sand and just saying, I'm not budging, that you would come around. I feel like they very much strongly wanted you to change or wanted you to make that decision to adjust to them. And it's like this person is finally realizing, I want to say this sounds harsh, but like that they're not the prize. And it really took them this long before they were willing to admit that. I feel like it's almost like this person lives somewhat in a world of delusion where they think that I can just create this narrative and that's what it's going to be, kind of a thing. And I feel like for a while they got you convinced of it too. Like they acted a certain way and had you panicking or had you nervous about, oh my God, like what if I never talk to this person again? And then it's like you just started focusing on yourself or moving on with your life. And for them, I feel like that has been painful because they really thought for the longest time you were going to come back. And there is this strong sense of this person that like they tend to do things and they just expect everyone else to like fall into place, you know, fall into line. Like, you know, if I'm telling you no, then you just have to listen and accept that it's no. Or if I want to do it, then you're going to have to do it. And I don't care how you feel. And I feel like that worked for them for a while. And now it's like, oh, wow, that really kind of backfired on me. And maybe that wasn't the best way to go about it. Maybe I'm not super happy with the results of how everything turned out from that choice. So, yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of self-reflection that's happening now and kind of admitting to themselves that, hmm, that may not have been the best way to handle things, but it's almost like they needed to learn that hard lesson. They needed to be drug through the mud. They needed to be, you know, put through the ringer and like really go through that. Like they have one of those hard-willed, strong-willed type of personalities where it's like they aren't going to budge until they feel like they have to budge. And they can be very, very stubborn. So it's taken them a while to come around with that. But I feel like in a way, I honestly feel like for so many of you guys, there was an energetic harvesting happening. I'm seeing people with their chakras very interlinked, like from a distance, though. Not sitting next to each other, but like from a distance, the chakras are still super connected. So I feel like you guys had a really intense energy flow back and forth. And in a way, I want to say this person was harvesting off your energy, whether that was intentional or unintentional, whether they were aware of it or not. I do feel like they definitely got a charge from having you in their life, having them around you. They definitely felt very connected to you, even when they didn't realize that was going on. If you guys were in a relationship or you did seriously date this person, you may have felt like if you say spent the night at their place or slept over and shared a bed with them or something, that afterwards in the morning, like, I just did not get a good night's sleep. Oh my God, like I'm really drained. And I feel like part of that is this person literally physically like harvesting some energy. Like they are getting a charge from your emotions in a way they may have enjoyed making you mad for that reason, because it's like that at least is an emotional charge for them. And they may have unconsciously been seeking that out by pressing your buttons or trying to annoy you sometimes, because I feel like this person does get a deep rush from the connection. Maybe some of you guys are still in a relationship with this person, in which case, no judgment. And maybe there's just one of those deep physical emotional connections that you guys have. But sometimes this person may like kind of drain your energy a little bit, and it may go back and forth. It may go both ways, but I feel like they are almost a little addicted to your energy, whether they realize it or not. They love and they crave your energy. So that may be something they seek out even in negative ways without realizing that. Like, oh, let me start a fight because then they're going to get fiery. And then I love to get that energy burst, and not even realizing like, oh, that's not the most functional way to go about it and probably not the healthiest thing to do. So yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of that needing to sometimes get a rise out of you and not even realizing why. Like it's not clicking like, oh, that's not the best way to have this relationship go. Let me get into some tarot. Let's do the tarot next for you, pile number 1. So we want to know how this person is feeling towards pile 1. How this person is feeling towards pile 1. Okay, we got the 7 of Wands reversed. We got the Lovers. Wow, okay, that's upright. How is this person feeling towards pile 1? The 10 of Wands, yes. The High Priestess. I'm also feeling a message for some of you guys with all these upper level wand cards. When you go into the upper level of the wands, you're actually starting to see a theme of a lot of conflict. I mean, conflict is present throughout the wands, but really once you get into the upper level of the wands, it's actually like more and more fighting, in contrast to other suits where it gets easier as you go up into the higher numbers and you progress in that journey. You actually sometimes things get harder and harder when it comes to the higher level ones. So I feel like there's a message for some of you guys that this person, if you are in a relationship with them, it's almost like they're sick of fighting, or they're sick of the conflict. Or they're sick of the miscommunication. I feel like even if you are no contact with this person, they could just be reflecting and being like, you know what, I should have let that go. Or I shouldn't have started that fight that time we went out on that date night. Like I should have just kept that to myself. And almost like regretting or having, I feel like there has been a lot of emotional growth that this person has undergone through their connection with you. They have definitely evolved and they definitely do feel a deep soul connection. Like I said, I'm seeing chakras deeply connected, like cords tying you guys together, strings tying you guys together, chakras that are activated even from a distance. It's funny because I'm seeing not just like a chakral connection, but like this thick, glowing, like cord connecting all the chakras, like, and it's lit up like a Christmas tree. It's like greenish blue turquoise color, and it's just glowing neon, and I'm seeing that connecting your soul. So it feels like it's a very, very deep connection with this person. And I feel like for them, yeah, it's almost like they may have thought they wanted the conflict or the smoke with you, and now that they've gotten it, they realize they don't want it. Like they may have sometimes enjoyed, like I almost feel like I could see this energy for some of them being kind of like, it's like the vibe of a little kid that like knows they're not supposed to do something but wants to do it anyway and is like laughing about it, like, ha, I took the last cookie. Bah, my mom told me not to eat cookies, but I ate the cookie anyway. And like having fun with that and enjoying that, but then getting really upset when mom is like, okay, so no dessert tonight. And it's like, oh my God, wait, I didn't really think of that future, you know? So I feel like sometimes this person may start conflict with you a little bit, but they don't, but it's almost like it's taken them time to realize, yeah, I don't really like this, you know? So I feel like the message from them is, if you're in a relationship with this person may have had to learn to just do things the way you like and to be more agreeable or adjustable. But if you're no contact, this person may be saying, like, I should have been more compromising. I should have been more easygoing. I shouldn't have been so stubborn. I shouldn't have just dug in my heels and just done what I wanted to do. I should have really listened more to pile one and gone along with them. So I feel like that has been a life lesson that they have learned from the connection with you. And it's funny that we got the lovers, and I'm seeing people chained with their chakras together, because the lovers are also shown on the devil card, and they're chained together in literal chains in front of the devil, and they don't realize that the chains aren't actually like locking them into anything. But my point in all that is, like, it definitely feels like this could be a connection where someone literally feels obsessed or feels like they can't move on, or feels like, wow, there's just something karmic, there's just something very deep here, there's something that goes beyond the norm, and like I can't let it go, I can't just ignore it anymore, I can't just, like, maybe they've dated other people, and plenty of the times it's like, oh, I'm just going to move on to the next, whatever. But it's like there's something about this that keeps them coming back. And I feel like for them, that may have really taken them by surprise. They may be used to kind of calling the shot, so to speak, or just feeling like in charge, just feeling like they are the one in the power position or the driver's seat. And I feel like you kind of flipped that, Uno reversed it on them, and kind of, they weren't expecting that. Like they are still a little bit in shock, like, oh, how did that happen? Because usually I'm the one who has the say, usually I'm the one who gets to cut things off or says I'm not into this or whatever. I feel like this person may also just have a lot of respect for you, because again, it's almost like they feel like they weren't expecting you to be as fierce as you are. They weren't expecting you to be as independent and as strong as you are. And I feel like there's a part of them that was expecting you to just fall at their feet or just do what they wanted. And now it's like, okay, I think I have to like bring my A game. I think I even have to like change, grow, adjust. So you may have really prompted them to go through a season of change and introspection and look inside themselves and see what they need to fix, grow, and change. I feel like you may have really kicked off this energy where they're like, I need to do this different, or I am not as good at whatever that I thought I was. Maybe I thought I was such a great catch and anyone would be lucky to have me, but dating this person has really highlighted all these shadow sides that I need to fix and change. This can definitely be present whenever you meet someone where you have a past life connection, because it's like they know you so well. They know your triggers, they know your issues. I always compare it to kind of like that sibling relationship. Just because your siblings know you so well, that if you try to give like an excuse to your siblings, like, well, no, I'm not going to apply to that job because I don't want to work there anywhere, but your sibling knows you well enough to be like, don't lie. That was your dream company. You always said you wanted to work there. You're scared you're going to get rejected. Like they know you and they can call you out and they can like point your BS out, you know? And that can be very triggering and upsetting, but it also can help us to grow. So I feel like you kind of did that for this person. Let me get a couple more tarot cards for pile number 1 and how this person feels towards pile 1. It's almost like they just want things to be sweet and peaceful again with this Page of Cups and the Page of Swords. They may definitely want to talk to you, but with those both being reversed, that energy may be blocked, like they feel like they can't say anything, you know? It could be, and we just got the Hanged Man, that this person does want to kind of step forward and say, you know, how they feel. They may have literally taken a very different attitude. You know, the Hangman is kind of a card that can have a very defeated energy. So can the Five of Wands to a certain extent. It can show where we feel like we took a loss or where we've had to reassess. And it always reminds me of that line from Taylor Swift's song, Call It What You Want, where she says, I took a knife to a gunfight. They took the crown, but it's all right. So I feel like it's that vibe where you realize like, wow, I really lost that battle. And it's almost like you're licking your wounds or you're looking at it afterwards and kind of taking stock of like, oh my God, how did that happen? And that sucks. And I feel really upset. And you're trying to kind of process it. And I feel like this person may have done a lot of processing because of you. They may not usually be the kind of person who would want to process or want to look deeply and introspect, but I feel like you brought that out and you've inspired them to make those changes. And it's taken them, for some of them, it may take them a while because again, they're very much in a stubborn energy. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, with the Page of Cups reversed, the Page of Swords reversed, I feel like this person may very well want to step forward, may very well want to tell you how much they're attracted to you, how much they're into you. And I feel like they want things to go back to that like fun, playful, exploratory part of the relationship, but some of them may not know how. Again, if you're in a relationship with this person, it may just be a rough patch or something, or they're just processing like, I don't want to make my partner mad anymore. I don't want to have any more conflict. I just want things to be peaceful and I want to make them happy. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. I just feel like if this is no contact, this person is kind of flummoxed and being like, how do I even go about this? How do I change this? How do I improve? And there is a feeling of defeat. Like if this person is not reaching out to you, it may be because they literally are just like, I know I'm going to be blocked. I know I'm going to be not responded to. I know if I text, like it's not going to be answered and it's going to be embarrassing for me. So I don't even want to do that. So I'm just going to keep this person at arm's length because I know that it's just not going to happen like that. Like I feel like this person does have a lot of respect for you. They see you as someone who looks out for yourself and it's like kind of prideful and strong and full of dignity. So even though that's a good thing, it could make them also hold themselves back and be like, I don't want to ask, or I don't want to send that text, or I'm just going to get rejected. This is embarrassing for me. So they may not do it. Let me get into some song cards for you. Pile number 1. So how does this person feel towards pile number 1? So we got I Get a Kick Out of You, Frank Sinatra. Let's see, this is Someday, The Strokes, and this one is All of Me Wants All of You, Sufjan Stevens. Lover, Taylor Swift. Thinking of You, Frank Ocean. August, Taylor Swift. How does this person feel towards pile 1? I Summon You, Spoon. Storms, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, I feel like Storms is a good song too, you know, and the lyrics there are like, for never have I been a blue calm sea, I've always been a storm. And I feel like that's kind of how they see you. They see you as very feisty. They see you as very powerful. It's taken them a while to almost like respect your power or realize the force of it. They may have taken your words for granted in the past. Like if y'all were together in a relationship and you said like, I'm leaving you, maybe they didn't ever believe you. Maybe they thought it was all cap or like you're just being dramatic or, you know, you're just in a mood. And now they're like, like, oh my God, they did mean it. And it's like it's taken your absence for them to realize the value of having you in their life and to realize how important you are to them and how much you bring to their life. Like, I feel like for the longest time, they were kind of in denial, almost like not wanting to admit it, not wanting to admit the power you had over them. It's interesting. We also got the High Priestess reversed because the High Priestess, to me, I love the High Priestess card. And when you think about it, I always say, understanding the High Priestess card, you have to think about, how the priestesses were treated back in the day, that they might be sitting in, and in the Rider-Waite deck, like the High Priestess is depicted literally sitting in a temple in between these two stone pillars. And there's a lot of symbolism with the pillars and everything, but the point is pillars are initiation in tarot. And if you think about, sitting in a temple, how that would be, the feeling you would have had back in the day, like 2000 years ago, entering into a temple, say a Greek or Roman temple, and there's a priestess sitting there on a throne, and she's wearing a crown, which she is depicted wearing, and the coolness of the marble, maybe the smell of the incense wafting around you, the fact that she's sitting in darkness, and there is something dark about the High Priestess, and she's ruled by Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. Anyway, all the symbology, there's something very foreboding about the High Priestess. There's something very intimidating. She sees through you. She sees to your soul. She sees through your core. If you lie to her, she'll know because she's intuitive, right? And if you lie to her, there could be karmic consequences because she's kind of this powerful spiritual figure. And so some people would probably avoid her entirely because it's like there's intimidation there. There's this feeling of this divine goddess mother figure embodied by Cancer again. And, the like not being ready to be seen like that, not being ready to be seen through to your soul. And I feel like there's this person, that kind of energy around you where maybe they did feel like you saw through them so deeply and they just weren't ready for that. That was like too much for them, like, I can't deal with this. And let me even sabotage it. Let me run away from this because you know what? I don't want to be seen this way. I don't want to be looked at to who I am. I don't want someone to know me this deeply. And they may have even pushed you away for that reason, or kind of like not given you the respect you deserve. If you could imagine, again, with the High Priestess, you needed to come correct with her. You needed to go ahead and bring an offering. You needed to approach, with respect. You needed to wear an appropriate outfit. You couldn't just stroll in and give her no respect and expect her to do what you wanted. And so that's the thing, is I feel like maybe this person was not ready or willing to come correct. Maybe they weren't willing to humble themselves, especially in front of the divine feminine, and kind of go along with that. And instead, their pride wanted them to feel all powerful, so they didn't give you the respect you deserved and kept doing their same behavior. But I feel like either way, they've had to be humbled now. They've had to realize that I feel like there was some element of you not being willing to take the BS, you not being willing to overlook certain things, you putting your foot down. And it's almost like they could have stepped up, they maybe would have stepped up. And I feel like they didn't. Like, even that August song by Taylor Swift is giving me that vibe. I don't know. To me, that song is in a way about when you see potential in someone, or you see what something could be, but they're just not willing to do that. Of course, in this situation, it's like a love triangle, unrequited love, which I don't think is like the case in your case, but it's almost like I see what we could be together. I could see all this potential. I could see you in your best. I could see what it would be like if you loved me. I could see what it would be like if you were willing to do the work and you were willing to like lock in, and you're not willing to. You have something else on your mind, or you're immature, but whatever the case may be, it is what it is, and you're not ready for this. And I feel like there's that vibe between you guys of you maybe wanting more from this person, or wanting them to step up, wanting them to be the best version of themselves, and them not being willing to do that because, again, it would involve humbling. And this person, to me, is giving, again, fixed sign energy, almost like Leo energy, like ego energy, dysfunctional Leo. I love Leo. I have a Leo 7th house, and yeah, I love Leo. So I think Leos are great. I'm not talking about functional and ascended Leos. I'm talking about lower dysfunctional Leos that may be overly self-centered or overly full of themselves, egoistic, ego driven, fixed on, it has to be my way. And I feel like that's how this person almost reacted. Like they felt such a deep connection to you, and you scared them because they saw the potential. They saw what it could be. They saw how everything in their life would change drastically. And I feel like they almost weren't ready for that type of intimacy, just like with the high priestess being reversed. If you are not ready to be seen fully, you may not want to go to a psychic or a medium or a tarot reader, or you may not want to go to a highly intuitive person. You may not want to walk into that temple. You may not want to be even around that energy because it's like, ooh, I'm not ready right now. I'm, doing too much stuff. I'm not in the place I want to be, and I don't want you to see through me, because the high priestess is all about intuition, seeing through someone. It's also about Cancer energy, which is a mother figure. It's not just pure acceptance the way maybe Pisces could kind of give off that vibe, where it sees through you, but it's very accepting. Cancer can be that mother and can, push you, like, you need to do this different. You need to, eat your vegetables. You need to get to bed early, and all this stuff that comes with like the mother, the great, archetypal mother who's going to push you in the right direction. But maybe if you have a very strong ego, it can feel like, how dare you tell me what to do? And this is my life. And so, yeah, I feel like there was a vibe with that of this person just wanting to stick things out and do things their own way. And then kind of realizing later, like, wow, pile one was right. In the same way that maybe, you talk a lot of stuff about your parents, and then at a certain age you realize they were right about that, or they were right about this thing. So yeah, I feel like it's been a little bit of a hard realization for this person, but it is kind of dawning on them certain things that they may have done wrong. But that is what I have for you, pile one. I really hope that resonates. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted readings all about who's coming towards you, the beginning part of 2025. There's so many different topics. I can't even remember like some of the recent videos because new ones just go up all the time. If you're interested in joining, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description, and I would love to see you there. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, channeled messages, tarot, astrology, a combination, whether you want it pre-recorded or live, you get to really customize your session, so it's the perfect psychic reading for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile two, welcome to your reading. So you guys got Dragon's Lair, Slow and Steady, Dry Desert, and Fields of Dreams. So I feel like the first thing that's coming through from this person is intimidation. They may want to step towards you. They may want to reach out, but they may be afraid of what you're going to say, or they may even, for some of them, I'm getting the vibe of feeling that you're out of their league, or feeling that there's something intimidating about you. You may see through them, or they may feel very vulnerable in front of you. And I feel like for them, that's something that keeps them away. It's like they do want to, but I feel like there's a part of them that almost justifies it. They may even claim that, like, this is a part of the plan. Like, we got the slow and steady card, and for me, how that's resonating is kind of like how you may want something, or you have a goal, but you may talk yourself down about it, or tell yourself like, well, no, I'm not going to do it today, but I'll do it tomorrow, I promise. Or yeah, I'm not gonna like buy that thing I need today, but like maybe there'll be a sale and I'll buy it next week. And it's almost like you put off something you know you need to do because maybe you're stressed out about it. Maybe like you're trying to buy a huge purchase or something, and it just gives you anxiety to spend that much money online, or I don't know, or maybe like you have to do some project, but you're nervous about messing it up, so you just procrastinate. or maybe you need to send that text or ask someone something and you are afraid of that rejection. And I feel like that's what's going on here. This person may tell themselves like, no, it's cool, I'm just gonna wait, and there's a reason, like maybe I'm gonna reach out after the holidays, or I'm gonna reach out like on their birthday's coming up and I'll send that text then, or hoping that they run into you, or telling themselves like, wait until I get more fit, I'm gonna hit the gym first, I'm gonna get some muscles, or I'm gonna get into really good shape, or I'm gonna make more money, and then that's when I'll reach out. Like I feel like that's kind of how they justify it. There is this feeling of not wanting to make a bad impression on you, wanting you to be impressed and you to like them, wanting you to see them as good. And I feel like sometimes that literally gives them anxiety. Like I wouldn't be surprised if this person does suffer from some anxiety or something, because I feel like sometimes they just whip themselves into a frenzy and just get really nervous about like, what is pile one gonna say, or are they gonna like this, or are they gonna think I'm cool, or are they gonna think it's lame? And I feel like that definitely weighs on them, this kind of like feeling like they need to be perfect, or feeling like they're not good enough as they are. And I feel like for them, they sometimes can go into fantasy land even and like replay their memories, and that's enough for them. They may be unconsciously contacting you on the astral plane sometimes when you are like going over and over and over a memory in your mind. You're unconsciously tapping back into that person and tapping into their energy field. And I feel like this person may do that again, like not realizing what's going on energetically, but that they are still tapping into your energy. And it feels like sometimes if they just are having a rough time, or they have a few seconds in bed to like relax and think before they go to sleep, then their mind goes to you and they don't realize how much they are plugging into your energy. And if you're still allowing that energetic pathway to be open, pile two, I do feel like they're getting a lot out of that. I feel like they are getting a rush and a charge from feeling connected to you on the astral plane in that way. And you may not even realize how much your energy does kind of get siphoned off by them a little bit. And I feel like for them, I feel like that's a very happy feeling, like replaying memories or looking at your pictures or whatever. It's almost like they can delude themselves into thinking that everything is going to be okay. And some of them may do that. Like if you're, I don't know, if you had a breakup with this person or you're no contact with them, you may be surprised that when you meet them, like there's not as much conflict and they think everything is cool. And you're like, wait a minute, the last time we spoke, like we were screaming at each other and we broke up and it was really messy. Like, why are you coming over to give me a big hug and to like tell me all about what's been happening in your life with a huge smile on your face? Like, this is awkward because this is not the vibe. But I feel like in their mind, they still see you as like, we're friends and it'll work out one day and we're going to get back together and everything's cool between us. And I feel like they kind of do a little bit of ignoring of the reality and what's actually going on in order to make themselves feel better. It's almost giving like delusional placements, like a little bit of Pisces or maybe Sagittarius, of just like prominent Jupiter, like overlooking things and just being like, yeah, it's all good, yeah, everything's gonna be perfect, even when like everything is falling apart. And I feel like they sometimes just kind of delude themselves into thinking that it's just going to magically work out, or you guys are just going to run into each other. And that may be easier for them than processing that like they need to take initiative and they need to send that text and they need to step up and make themselves vulnerable and like reach out and say how they feel. But that's a lot harder, I think, than just living in like Delulu world and pretending that like one day we'll just be grabbing coffee from the same place and our hands will touch as we reach for the same latte and we'll get into conversation and be laughing and like delusional rom-com scenarios. So I feel like for them, that intimidation, it's like that's hard for them. If you're in a relationship with this person, this may be someone who also sometimes it's maddening to you, like they ignore what's really going on in order to focus on just what's happy. Like you may be like, okay, I want to sit down, I want to have this discussion about this thing that happened, or I need you to step up and do this, like I'm doing too much of the household labor, or whatever the discussion is. And this is someone that if you ask them, like, are you happy in the relationship? They'd be like, 100%. I'm super happy. We're both happy. This is great. This is amazing. And then if they interviewed you, you might be like, no, I've told them a million times that they need to like clean the dishes after or whatever the case may be. And it's just like, I feel like this person sometimes doesn't want to see reality. You know what I mean? I keep getting that vibe that like they're not looking at things clearly in some way when it comes to you. And they definitely do that delusional, like, everything's fine, everything's gonna work out. If this is someone that you never were in a relationship with and maybe they haven't asked you out, again, they may just be hoping that like you're gonna do it, or y'all will be magically thrown together, or you're just not gonna date anyone and you're just gonna sit around and wait for them and it's just gonna somehow work out without me having to do anything. Yeah, I feel like they almost get scared and that's their cope that they tell themselves. So let me get into some tarot for you. Pile number 2. So we want to know how pile 2's person feels about them. So we got the Magician. Okay. The 9 of Wands. Wow, reversed. I'm not surprised. That makes a lot of sense. How is this person feeling towards pile number 1? We got the Knight of Pentacles, the Emperor reversed, the 8 of Pentacles reversed. Let's see. The 10 of Pentacles reversed. Wow. It just makes a lot of sense to me, a lot of these reversals, that I feel like a lot of times are with cards that are indicative of like hard work, like the 8 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, the 9 of Wands. A lot of those cards are about like being willing to do the work, being willing to fight through discomfort, being willing to stick it out. And again, it doesn't surprise me that those are reversed because I feel like this person, they may have all these dreams about how they're going to accomplish things and they may think of themselves as the Magician. And also, you know, I love the Magician card. I think it's overall a super positive card. But in this context, to me, how it's coming out is also kind of the delusion of the Magician. Like when we see a magician out operating in public, like, you know, and he's like doing card tricks or something, it's based on a little bit of Neptunian deception and delusion, right? Like there's an element there of deliberately fooling you, and convincing you. And even when you're watching a magician, convincing yourself, right? Like, you know, in a way that that card trick is false, but you're still going to be like, wow, oh my God, he made that card disappear. He read my mind and he guessed number four of you know, aces or whatever. Wait, I don't even think I'm saying that right. But anyway, I don't remember. 4 of diamonds. Sure, that works. And you just convince yourself that like, oh yeah, that's what's really happening, even though there's a part of your brain that knows that's not happening. And it's almost like that wishful thinking we all have, that like, wow, someone could really saw a woman in half and she's still fine and she's still moving, or someone could really like, you know, make cards disappear or pull a rabbit out of a hat or whatever. That's kind of the beauty of the Magician, is that it plays into that belief that we all have, which can be very positive. But I also feel like, again, it could be delusional. It could be that feeling you have that like, oh, I'll just write that paper at the last minute, in the last, you know, hour before it's due, but I have to turn it in by midnight, so I'm going to start at 11 and I'm going to drink beforehand. And it's almost like that could work. I mean, sometimes you're under pressure and like you have 40 minutes to do something and you just push yourself so hard and you end up doing an amazing job. But there's also times when it's like, oh, I'm going to procrastinate, I'll do a last minute. And you're like, I'll pack for the airport, you know, the morning of, and then you sleep through your alarm and then you have 10 minutes to pack and it's just not enough time no matter how fast you're moving, and then you get stuck in traffic and you do miss your flight. Like, you know what I mean? And it's almost like relying too much on that, relying too much on like, hey, we'll figure it out, can backfire. And I feel like there's that vibe here where this person just almost needs to grow up sometimes and doesn't take it seriously, if I'm being honest. Like, it's interesting we got the 9 of Wands reversed, because, you know, when we get into those upper level wands, that's being willing to fight, that's being willing to like do the work and it's a hard journey when you get into the upper ones cards. And I feel like for them, it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that much. That's not fun. The Emperor being reversed as well. The Emperor being ruled by Aries. Aries is all about boldness. It's the god of war. It's rushing in and taking something we want and getting it and not being afraid and knowing that we're going to face conflict, knowing that it's going to be hardship. If you think about someone going off to war, you know, they're not going to be eating at a catered buffet every night. They're not going to be sleeping on a 5-star feather bed mattress. They're going to be, you know, sleeping in a trench and like eating nasty canned food and, you know, not being able to sleep well at night because there's so much noise in the barracks and missing their family and going all this risk. That's something that Mars Aries energy really represents and really knows is like, hey, we got to do it. That's why a lot of Aries energy people, dominant Aries people, are very impulsive, and you won't even have to ask them or beg them or, you know, try to cajole them. Like if you have to do that to an Aries, it's pretty much already no, because Aries are so instinctual. They just rush in. They just do it. They don't even have to ruminate or think about it or like go over it in their mind. They just are like, I want it, I'm going after it. And that's how it is most of the time when you really want something. You're inspired to just rush in and like take it. And I feel like this person almost uses like, oh, I got to strategize as an excuse, you know, like, oh, I don't know how to do that as an excuse. Sometimes we're like, listen, if you really wanted to, you could. I actually hate that phrase. If he wanted to, he would. I think it's like not true at all. And I think it's also just, I don't know, kind of misogynistic because it puts a lot of the onus on like the woman, in my opinion, of like, he doesn't like you enough, but he'd be so great if he did. But a lot of people are, you know, tied up by their own traumas, their own issues. But that's kind of what it's bringing to my mind is like, hey, listen, you may want something and you may want it bad, but at a certain point, you've just got to do it. It doesn't matter how much you want something. If you're not acting on it, if you're not taking action and going into that fire energy and just doing it, then what's going to happen? And we got the Emperor reverse. So to me, it's like someone that isn't fully aligned with their will, isn't fully like in that power energy of like, I'm going after it, I'm doing it, I want it. And that's something the Emperor represents. The Emperor is a figure of pure power and authority, and it's ruled by Aries, which is a very unrelenting energy. It's a very, I want this, I'm thinking of myself energy, and I don't really care. And there's a boldness with Aries. They're not going to sit and wonder, should I do it? I don't know. They're just going to do it. And I feel like that's what this person needs. They need that rush of energy, and they just don't have it. I feel like they may feel easier in this kind of Knight of Pentacles energy, where the Knight is not as young as the Page. It's still going after things. The Pentacle energy, Earth energy, is much more careful, considerate. And again, in this person's mind, they may even feel like, no, I am pursuing, I am stepping up. I have gone after pile number 2. If you ask them, they may be like, I'm doing everything right. Like, what are you talking about? I have pursued them. I've made my intentions clear. And you're like, no, you haven't. Or maybe this is being in a relationship with someone and they're like, yeah, I've done everything great in the relationship. I've been a really great partner. And you're like, you have not. And also I asked you to do this, this, this. You've done none of it, you know? So I feel like there's this vibe of them just kind of like not wanting to acknowledge or just wanting to live in, like I said, Delulu world a little bit. Let me get into a couple more cards for you. Pile number 2. How is this person feeling towards pile 2? Let's see. Okay, so we got the Fool reversed. And finally, the Five of Pentacles. So the Five of Pentacles is where we see that kind of final acknowledgement of major loss. The Five of Pentacles shows people exiled outside of a church in a snowstorm. They seem to be broke. So it's really that moment when we acknowledge like, wow, I really lost. And it's almost like having to be punished. You know, there's a lot of symbolism with the church and the Rider-Waite deck, which is really set in like medieval England and Europe. So back in medieval England and Europe, the church was obviously the center of society. So if you got exiled from the church, you kind of had to do something pretty bad, right? Usually most people would go out of their way to avoid that. And if you really like crossed that line and were like, whatever, I'm doing it anyway. That was a pretty bold thing. And again, I feel like there's a vibe of this person. It's almost like giving like childish energy, you know, and someone who is just not like, it's like, oh, I messed up and I didn't realize. And then finally it clicking when the punishment comes down. Finally it getting through their head when they're like exiled outside the church and they're freezing and they're like, it's a snowstorm and they have no money and they're like completely alone, and it not clicking beforehand, like, what are you doing? You know, it's just not registering. And sometimes someone having to get that final punishment before it clicks. Again, I feel like this person, this could even be someone who like distracts themselves with a lot of video games. I'm kind of surprised we didn't get the devil card a little bit that can talk about, you know, being in addiction or being just not really present. Because I wouldn't be surprised if this person does play video games or just distracts themselves in other ways. We also got the Fool reversed. Again, the Fool, you've got to have that energy of boldness, of being unafraid, of being slightly delusional. That's why it's called the Fool. In order to rush in and make something happen and begin that journey of the major arcana, you have to have a little bit of like craziness and just energy and just going for it. And I feel like this person just doesn't have that. And they comfort and soothe themselves by taking themselves out of it, deluding themselves, going into their comfort zone and pretending that everything's cool, even when it's not. And I can see how that would be very frustrating to deal with, because it's like, hello, wake up. Like, you got to act right. You got to come correct. But I don't know. I feel like they just don't know how to, and it may take them a while for it to click and for them to get it, you know? Let me get into some song cards for you, pile number 2. So we want to know how pile 2's person really feels for them. We got Storms, Fleetwood Mac, okay? And this is Moondance, Van Morrison. Digital Love, Daft Punk. Rosalind, Bon Iver, and St. Vincent. Lover, Taylor Swift. Everlong, Foo Fighters. Every Little Kiss, Bruce Hornsby. And let's get 2 more. Talking Body, Tove Lo. And Love at First Sight, Kylie Minogue. This is a really interesting combination of songs. And again, I feel like this person, on some level, it's almost like they're not giving me a clear message with these songs, which again makes me think of just being uncooperative. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an uncooperative underlying motive to this person, kind of like a childish, I'm going to do what I want vibe. You know what I mean? Like, again, I almost mentioned children, because when I got the 5 of Pentacles, what came up for me is the 5th house, and the 5th house is the house of children in astrology. And I was just really feeling this strong connection to like children, and it gives me that vibe of like how a little kid is like, hey, don't tell me what to do. And it's almost like they know they're doing wrong, but they don't want to listen, they don't want to acknowledge it. And I feel like that's kind of a vibe here with this person. Maybe feeling like, hey, you don't have the right to tell me what to do, or I'm just going to do what I want, or I shouldn't have to like bend and change. I shouldn't have to adjust myself. I should be able to live my life however I want, blah, blah, blah. And not being willing to like fully bend and meet someone in the middle and do what they want and adjust themselves. I feel like they do have a stubborn side a little bit, and kind of like a self-focused vibe as well. So yeah, to me, it's giving that this person needs to grow up. It's giving that this person sometimes doesn't even know what they're doing, doesn't even know what they're thinking. They may even distract themselves by dating other people. And I feel like it's almost like this person is that very ego-driven energy that refuses to acknowledge when they've screwed up. I think that's like the worst thing to me personally. I don't know, maybe it's the Pisces in me where I love to be like, oh, I messed up, or or I was done wrong. Like, I feel like that's actually one of the things I like most about Pisces. And people say we play victim, and we definitely do. But I also feel like sometimes it's not that we play victim, it's just that everyone else has too much of an ego that they like refuse to admit they were victimized, whereas us Pisces will like wave a flag being like, I was victimized, I was treated badly, someone did me wrong, and everyone else will try to be like, no, I didn't know, I'm fine, no, I didn't. And a Pisces will be the first to be like, oh yeah, I didn't know the answer to that, or like, no, that person screwed me over, like I don't even think they liked me anyway. But I have never understood people where like they will not acknowledge when they screwed up. Like the people that are like, they know they're going down the wrong road, but they won't turn around. Or the person that would like walk into the wrong movie theater and see that something else is playing and just like proudly sit down and eat their popcorn because they don't want to have to take that L and walk out and realize like, oh, I went into the wrong film. That kind of a thing. Or the person that will just dig deep into like, no, I know I was right about that. No, I know I was. And I don't know. To me, it's just so crazy. It's so dysfunctional. And I feel like this person does that a lot, even to themselves, not wanting to acknowledge, just protecting their ego, just feeling like, I'm just going to say I'm right and eventually it'll turn out that way. And honestly, I feel like for a lot of people who picked this pile, it's like they're still in that energy. They almost have a giddiness about them, a feeling like, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize? Or what am I supposed to learn from this? Like, please, just, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to adjust. I'm doing everything perfect and you're crazy to ask me. And they're very like self-delusional, you know, they're very like like protective almost. Like it's almost like they have such a fragile ego behind that they can't acknowledge that they screwed up because they're afraid their ego will be shattered. They can't say, yeah, I think I took a wrong turn and I just went down the wrong road. So let me ask for help, because then they'll look like an idiot. But if they keep driving down that same wrong road for the next 50 miles, then somehow it's better, you know? So I feel like right now they're in that place of just not, it's just it hasn't clicked. And right now they're still kind of thinking that they're doing everything right. They haven't gone to the place of mourning yet, although I feel like they will with the Five of Pentacles coming out. Eventually that realization is going to hit. And like all things, it's almost worse the more you put that off, right? Like the more delusional you are, the more you drive down that wrong road, the further back you have to go, the longer you procrastinate writing that paper, the more of a rush you're going to be in at the last minute. And I feel like with this person, they can only cling to their delusion for so long. They can only pretend and put up like a blinder for so long before they finally will have to admit like, yeah, I didn't think I handled this well. But they really may date or play video games or sleep around or whatever, just to kind of hide that void and just pretend that they're feeling great and nothing's wrong and they're happy. I think that's kind of their go-to defense mechanism. They don't want to acknowledge, they don't want to take the L, they just want to act like everything's cool. And that seems to be where they're at right now. So that is what I have for you, pile two. Kind of a frustrating reading, but I hope it resonated. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted readings all about who is coming towards you, the early part of 2025, and lots of different readings. I honestly can't remember everything I posted recently because I post so many videos all the time. And also, like I said, you will get to be the first to see my YouTube videos as well. So if that sounds good to you and you want to join, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description for my Patreon, Briar Rose Tarot. That's the name of my Patreon. And if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be mostly astrology, tarot, channeling, a combination, you get to really customize your session so it's the perfect reading for you. And you get to decide if it's pre-recorded, if it's live, shorter, longer, what the focus is. So you get to really make sure it is the perfect psychic reading for you and for your questions. If that sounds good to you, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile two, welcome to your reading. So you guys got Sacred Pool, Wishing Well, Home, and Cleaning House. So wow, this is actually a really beautiful, lovely energy coming through. It's actually so sweet. I mean, sometimes these readings are breakup readings or no contact readings, or when you had some kind of messy separation. So I'm always prepared for some more dysfunctional or angry or sad energy, but this energy is just coming through really beautiful with a lot of love and revering you, thinking of you as amazing, thinking of you as their home, thinking of you as someone that they really value this connection. They may even look up to you, see you as sacred, maybe see you as kind of intuitive or very psychic as well. But I feel like this person, it's almost like I'm feeling a vibe of, I don't know what I would do without pile number three, or I just can't imagine my life without them. Just someone who I feel like kind of puts you up on a pedestal, or may even have felt inspired to change to be with you. They may have made adjustments to themselves or grown a lot through their connection with you. And it feels like they're just coming through with a lot of love and appreciation. And it's almost like their higher self is coming through to acknowledge what a difference you've made in their life and how you've inspired them to grow and even do soul work. I feel like a lot of you guys who picked this pile, you may really have a deep soul tie with this person. You may be connected with them from past lifetimes on the astral plane. You may have known this person before. I feel like this is a very deep connection. And it feels like you were able to see through into this person's soul. And to a certain extent, they were able to see through into your soul. And it was this beautiful coming together. It may have felt like it was fated. When you met them, you may have felt like, oh my God, like this is crazy how we met. Like this is so random that I would meet them this way. Or we have a lot of the same, history. Like we've been in the same place at the same time, and we have mutual friends, and there's already so many similar pathways. Or I feel like I know you before. It just feels like this was a very intense, fated soul meeting. And there is a soulmate vibe where I feel like even if you guys parted ways, the depth of this connection and the depth of the change you've inspired in each other is always going to touch you. And it's really beautiful. It's going to leave a beautiful mark on you. Like, I feel like no matter what, there's this beautiful soul tie connection. And it may even feel like no matter what happened, if you really needed help or if you really were going through a hard time, that you could definitely contact this person and just tell them what's going on. And they would like go out of their way, rush to help you. They would still pick up the phone even if a lot of time has passed, because it really does feel like things go so deep. And there's just this deep mutual respect, admiration, and love. I feel like this person does look up to you in a certain way. Like they like how you live your life. They feel like they can learn from you. They may feel very inspired by you. They may feel like they can kind of look to you as a guide or look up to you in some way. I feel like this person sees you. It's almost like they saw your trauma or they saw your issues, but instead of running away from it, they embrace that. And I feel like they see the same thing with you, like you see that in them. You can see them through to who they really are. And they maybe never felt this seen before. They may never have felt this level of connection and this level of being viewed in this way. I feel like for them, if there is any time and space distance between you guys, if there was a separation, it feels like they still think of you very fondly, think of you with a lot of respect, and you hold an important place in their heart. They may view you as the one that got away. They may think back to your time together and just cherish it and be really grateful for it and be like, wow, they're an amazing person and I want the best for them. It feels like it's not coming through with a ton of anger or resentment. If you have experienced a lot of anger and resentment from this person, then maybe this is their higher self taking over, and that may be their lower human self, but their higher self is very well aware of the part you've played in their heart, the beautiful special space that you have in their life and the way you've transformed them. And I feel like their higher self is very grateful for that, because their higher self is also saying you've inspired so much growth and change in them and made them into a better person. Let me get into some of these cards, some tarot for you. Pile number 3. So we want to know how this person feels towards pile 3. How does this person feel towards pile 3? So we got the five of swords reversed. This one is the Hierophant reversed. How does this person feel towards pile 3? The Four of Wands. The Nine of Cups reversed. And the Two of Cups. Oh, that's so beautiful. And the Six of Swords. Okay, so I'm hearing lyrics from this song by Taylor Swift, Bigger Than the Whole Sky, where she's like, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. You were bigger than the whole sky. You were more than just a fun time or something like that. Anyway, I feel like that's how this person feels. Like it's, if there is a parting energy, it's with a very wistful, loving, like kind feeling. Like it's not anger. It may even be with the Six of Swords, a feeling of I had to go, or I needed to leave for some reason. It could even have to do with soul growth. You know, sometimes we make the choice to meet a soulmate and to have them come into our life and then have them leave. We take the lessons we need and we keep it moving. You know, it's kind of like you don't hang around your 6th grade classroom for the rest of your life. You may have had that be a faded, like that was part of your education. It was important, but you're not going to hang out in, you know, 6th grade biology for the rest of your life. That wouldn't be what, you know, it wouldn't be very exciting, and it would limit your lessons and your learning to just one area. So I feel like this person is almost feeling also like a road stop, like in a good way. You know how like when you're on a road trip or something and then you pull into like a rest stop and you go get snacks and you can kind of stretch your legs a little. I feel like that's the vibe here. Like maybe you guys were fated to come into each other's lives in a way of, you know, I haven't seen this person in a while and they're like my best friend and I'm so excited to be reunited with them. So very positive feeling, not like, I have to be around this person because it's this heavy lesson, but almost like in between lessons, let me meet someone and be around someone that I really deeply care about and deeply respect and I know respects me, and how fun it is to be reunited. I often think meeting a soulmate can have that vibe, kind of like when you're at a party and maybe say you don't know anyone at that party, or you know, maybe you're out at a bar with someone and you're not really having the best time. And then you see like your best friend, they walk in and it's like, oh my God, someone's here that I can vibe with. And not just someone, but my best friend that I always laugh with and I have the best time. And we're like two partners in crime. And it's like that overjoyed feeling of reunion, feeling of like, what are you doing here? Oh my God, yes. So I feel like you guys had that vibe together of just like very like-minded souls that get along, maybe share the same sense of humor, maybe share a lot of interests, and there was a lot of commonality. Like I feel like this person really enjoys you too with the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is such a fun celebratory card and it's a great time. A lot of times I get that in readings when someone's personality is just like a party. Like they're great to talk to, they're fun, they're energetic, you know, they're the kind of person who would get up at a party and dance and, you know, maybe drink a little too much, but like it's fun to be around. I feel like this person gets that vibe with you where they just enjoy being around you. They really get a kick out of you. They have fun with you. Let me get some more tarot for you, pile number 3. How is this person feeling towards pile number 3? So we got the Knight of Pentacles reversed and the Nine of Wands. Okay. So that's super interesting. With the Two of Cups, they definitely felt this deep soul connection. They definitely felt like they could go deeper with you than they could with anyone else. And they definitely felt like they understood you and you understood them in a way that maybe like no one else did. Maybe no one else got it, or no one else fully like vibed and understood and like connected. Whereas I feel like with you, they really felt like you guys knew each other. And it's almost like you didn't even need that much introduction. You didn't need to get over some awkward phase of like getting to know someone. It was like immediately comfortable, immediately very deep between you guys. I feel like there is a little pessimism coming in with what card was I thinking of? Well, the Knight of Pentacles being reversed, where maybe this person feels like it's not possible to achieve you guys coming together in reality. Pentacles energy is very based in reality. All earth energy is. It's like not just like, oh, I had a great idea. It's like, well, what are you doing to make it happen? Did you actually do the work? Did you actually make something physically happen? It's very like black or white. You know, it's not the dreamer the way maybe cups can be or air energy can be. It's like, or even fire energy can be. It's like, did you actually get the work done? And I feel like with this person, they may feel like there's just no way to actually bring this into physical reality and make this happen. Maybe they feel like, yeah, we have this connection, but when it comes down to it, like, I just can't make this happen. I just can't do this. Like, it may be a great dream, it may be a great idea, but there may be things in the physical reality blocking this from happening or blocking this from coming forward. Again, with the Six of Swords, there may be even situational factors like a job, having to move, feeling like, you know, maybe they missed the moment and it's too late now, and feeling like they just need to move on. And again, sometimes that's accurate because soulmates doesn't mean you have to be with that person for life. Sometimes it could mean that they were destined to come into your life. They were destined to teach you things or help you make changes. And then they're also destined to leave and to kind of move on and to kind of continue on their journey, and you continue on your journey. So it doesn't have to mean that you guys are together and married in order to mean that it was a valuable and important and special connection. I feel like for them, they're acknowledging how beautiful it was, and maybe also acknowledging their higher self wants you to know that it's not that they didn't want to step towards you. It's not that they didn't care or didn't have emotions, but there may have been other factors at play, or just a deep intuitive feeling that like, I can't stop here. It's kind of like you stop at that beautiful road stop off the highway and you're like, wow, this is amazing. But you may know, I can't just stay here. It's not like I can live here for the rest of my life. Even if I love it, even if it's one of those really deluxe roadside attraction things that has like a little dinosaur monument and it has like the really delicious slushies and a hot dog machine and there's so much to do and see, and you're just like, oh, this food is great, but you can't live there, right? Maybe it's temporary and you know that. And this person may have even felt like as good as things were, they still needed to like continue on and make their own path. And as comfortable as things were with you, we don't necessarily come to this planet to find comfort. We come to this planet to learn lessons and to grow and to progress forward. And so sometimes being in touch with things from past lifetimes, represented by our South Node in astrology, isn't necessarily where we're supposed to head. We're supposed to head to our North Node, things we're actually uncomfortable with, things that, you know, maybe we are unfamiliar with, and that can be even scarier. So sometimes meeting a soulmate, sometimes it is good for our soul growth, especially if we didn't settle that karmic energy or we still had lessons to learn with that person in a past lifetime, then absolutely they can come back into our life to continue that and move that forward. But say we had a great relationship with that person, there wasn't a huge karmic debt, or we settled what we needed to settle with them, we learned whatever lessons, and they may be aligned with us to come into our life and we meet them, but it's like a temporary blip. It's not supposed to be where we head or end up, because it's like, that's not the lesson we need to learn. It's kind of like, you know, if you know a subject in school, then you're not necessarily supposed to take that class. You know, like if you're fluent in speaking Spanish and then you decide to use it as your language requirement in school, then, you know, will you get an A in the class? Sure. Will it be kind of easy for you? Sure. But you're not really doing what you were supposed to do by going to learn a language, because you're not learning a language. You already know that. And probably if you look back in the future when you're older and you're done with school, you'll be like, dang, I wish I had taken French, or I wish I'd taken Japanese or Russian or Italian or German or whatever, because that's broadening my horizons. And yes, it's more work, but I wanted to take a language and I could have learned, I could be fluent in French right now, but I only know Spanish and English and I'll never learn Japanese. You know what I mean? And that was my opportunity. So that's what I mean, is like sometimes we sign up for these, meeting people again and they don't align with actually what we signed up for in the Akashic records to learn. And it kind of feels that way to me, like this person and you and I can see this again, it's a general reading. So for so many of you guys, you may still have a soul connection with this person. If you feel like you still have lessons to learn with this person and you feel this deep connection with them and this resounding sense of coming home, then congratulations. You may be one of those people that is destined to live with, marry, be with their soulmate. And I could totally see that, or a past life connection. So it depends on how it resonates with you, because I feel like there's a mix in this pile. It just feels like there's a very destined energy here, and definitely a knowing this person from deep in the past. Okay, so I've turned on a light so you guys can see better. But yeah, so for those of you guys who have no contact with this person, we do have the Five of Swords reversed. The Five of Swords can be where we feel like we've suffered a loss, especially with regards to communication, because of course the swords reveal or reference communication. But overall, it can be where we feel like we suffered a major loss. And I feel like for this person, they may even be beating themselves up about like things they didn't say, wishing they had phrased something differently. I feel like there is a part of them that may have been guided by intuition here. Like if you did feel like, how did you not step up? Or how did you never tell me that you cared? Or like, how did that happen? How did you mess up so bad? They may be thinking the same thing, and it may be coming from a place of deep intuition. Like, I just know, I don't know why, but I just know I can't be together with this person. I know I have something bigger to do. I could for sure, like I've mentioned, see so many of you guys even one day like marrying this person or being with them for a long term, because it really does feel like, even though usually with my pick of cards with love, a lot of times no contact readings come up, separation readings, X readings, and I kind of thought this one might head that way, but what is coming through is just an overwhelming feeling of love and respect and joy towards you, and appreciation of everything you've brought to this person's life, and realizing how special you are. They may even be saying, their higher self saying, like, I know also pile number 3 had to go on their own journey. I know and understand that pile 3 is doing their own thing, and I respect that, and I'm happy for them, and I'm joyful for them. And even though it's hard for me, like, I get that, and I'll accept that, and I'll take that L. Yeah, let me get into some song cards for you, pile number 3. So we got Instant Crush, Daft Punk, and Julian Casablancas. So they may have instantly gotten feelings for you, love at first sight. A lot of times that does happen with soulmates. August, Taylor Swift. This one is Marry Me, St. Vincent. And that's interesting because we also got the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is definitely a marriage wedding card. So it can indicate that this person saw you as marriage material. They saw you as like wifey, husband, like, wow, I could be with them forever. Again, if you're still with this person, I've been saying, I could definitely see a marriage vibe. I could definitely see a life partner vibe. Because I feel like for those of you guys who were able to overcome any communication gaps or able to move past that kind of, again, some soulmates are destined to just meet for a moment, some for life, and it really depends on both of your life goals with each other, life goals for yourselves, with your Akashic records and all that. But of course, there are plenty of soulmates that end up getting married and kind of continue on that journey of helping each other spiritually grow and fulfill whatever karma, whatever lessons, whatever they signed up for, whatever mission. And I could definitely see that vibe where some of you guys are meant to have this person be your life partner, because I do feel like there's so much emotional fulfillment that you guys have with each other. There's so much deep connection. There's so much a feeling of like knowing each other, recognizing each other, like realizing that you're not alone, realizing that you're not lonely, realizing that like, wow, someone has my back. And also maybe even deep emotional healing that could take place in this relationship. Like, I feel like this person and you, if you're able to overcome any fears of intimacy, because sometimes that soulmate relationship can feel more intimidating than the regular relationship, because it's like, if I screw this up, I'd be devastated, or like, I just feel so intense about this person. Whereas maybe with another relationship, when it doesn't feel have that soulmate feeling, it's like, oh yeah, well, we broke up, whatever, I can move on. But when you have that soulmate feeling, it's like, oh my God, if I mess this up, I don't know what I'd do. And sometimes you can't take that pressure. It just becomes too much. So if you guys were able to overcome this, I could totally see this pile getting married or being with this person, because it feels like the emotions are so deep. The love is so deep here. And like I said, for some of you guys, it may have been love at first sight, where a lot of soulmates experience that, and they instantly have a weird feeling when they meet the person, or feeling of like, oh my God, do I know you? Or it just feels different with that person than it does with everyone else. Let me get into some more song cards for you. Pile number 3. So we got Sweet Talking Woman, Electric Light Orchestra, 5 Years Time, Noah and the Whale, God's Plan, Drake, I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston, wow. And finally, Talking Body, Tove Lo. So there's a lot of really deep romantic cards, and also cards talking about the future, talking about this person feeling that it is a spiritual connection. The Two of Cups can indicate a spiritual connection. This person just saying like, this meant a lot to me. This means a lot to me, depending on if you guys are still together, if you guys, aren't, or whatever. Obviously that can affect things. But I feel like with this person, they're saying, yeah, like, pile number 3 means so much to me. And pile number 3, it's funny, I just looked at my timer and it said 555. And I think earlier in the reading, when I had looked at my timer, it was 333. So again, there's just like all these angel numbers coming through. We got God's Plan by Drake. I really feel like there's a very divine, there's a very like faded feeling that I'm getting from this reading. There's a feeling of this was meant to be, or this has done something for me. This has brought something to my life. This has improved things for me, and this has touched my soul on a very deep level. This person may literally love talking to you, hearing your voice. We got Sweet Talking Woman. So I feel like this person, it's almost giving as well like biggest fan energy. Like you could never really push them away. Like even the song August, which is I think about loving someone that doesn't really love you back and is actually in love with someone else, but it's like she still loves the guy even though she knows he doesn't really love her. And it's like that, in a way, that's such a deep love, right? Like when you love someone even though it's unrequited, that's almost the biggest love of all, because it's like it can't get consummated. You're not really getting anything out of it. You know that person doesn't care about you, so there's no ego element to it. It's just pure love. Like, even when you're treating me badly, I love you. And I feel like there's a vibe there with this person, just like that, even if you did something bad to them, or even if they were upset with you at one time, it's almost like they're always going to forgive you. They're always going to see you through a good light. They're always going to assume the best out of you, even at times when you are like, yeah, I think I messed that up, or I did a bad job. Like they're always gonna just be your biggest fan. They're always gonna cheer you on, and they're always gonna kind of have your back in that way. So yeah, it's a very beautiful energy. That is what I have for you. Pile number 3. I really hope that resonates. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted readings about the early part of 2025 in more detail, as well as who is coming towards you. But there are so many topics to choose from over on Patreon, over 100, like I said, and you also get to be the first to watch my YouTube videos. If that sounds good to you and you're interested in signing up, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, just some channeling, a combination. Whether you want it to be pre-recorded or live, you get to really customize your reading so it's the perfect reading for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Please make sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz. That really helps the channel. But yeah, I will see you in the next reading. I'm sending you all my love and light, and I'll see you very soon. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, Pile 4, welcome to your reading. So you guys got Magic Stream, Details, Bone Collector, and Rescue. So I feel like there was an element here of someone being in need, or someone who like didn't show up the way they wanted to. I feel like there's a message for some of you guys of this person saying like, I'm sorry I couldn't be there, or I'm sorry I dropped the ball or something. Or maybe that was something that was coming from their side because they felt so vulnerable. It almost feels like someone was going through a really hard time, or there was an element of life events that played a role in this connection. Again, it could be from your side where you were just like needing this person to show up for you and they didn't. And this person is regretting how they handled that. Or it could be that this person was acting in a janky way because they were also going through something. But I feel like either way, there was something about someone who was going through something and that affecting things. And the other person maybe even being scared off by that, or feeling like, I don't know how to handle this. And I feel like that like disrupted things. And this person is saying, I feel like their higher self is coming through to say that this person needed to go through a lot of healing. Like they needed to deal with a lot of stuff. And it's almost like in their connection with you, there may have been a time when they kind of put it off or didn't fully act right the way they should have. And I feel like some of that was because they just didn't know how. They didn't know how to step up to the plate. They didn't know how to be what you needed. And a part of them does really regret that. And maybe it has even inspired them to do some soul growth work to kind of move through that. I feel like this person is saying that they will always cherish the memories they have with you. And they may even look back on some belonging you gave them and like really value that. Or a song you told them about and they just like listen to that song every morning. They have it at the top of their like Spotify playlist or something. I feel like for them, they almost may have gotten in their own head and like overthought things and looked too deeply into them, or done too much like ruminating instead of just acting. I also am getting a vibe for some of them that they may have felt like you were out of their league, and that may have affected their ability to really step forward strongly if they felt like, wow, like pile number 4 is just way better than me and there's no way I can compare. And pile number 4 just does things so well. Pile number 4 is so awesome. That may have also influenced their ability to really show up for you and to really, you know, be the person that they needed to, because I feel like there was a part of them that just didn't know how they could add value to your life. In a way, it's a good thing that they looked up to you, that they put you on a pedestal, that they saw you in such a beautiful light. But on the other hand, I feel like it kind of held them back, or they may have even felt like, oh, like pile 4 is fine. Pile 4 doesn't need me. I feel like there's a vibe for some of you guys, and maybe I'm actually going to be calling you out a little with this. It may have been something you did where maybe you're hyper independent, or you didn't want to let on how much you liked this person. So they may have not even known how you felt or that you needed them. It may be very hard for you to kind of get vulnerable and open up to someone, or trust that they will actually be there for you. So you may have actually been the one to put up a little bit of a wall with this person. And I feel like if that's the case, they're just saying, you know, I wish I could have been there. Like, I feel like in retrospect, this person's like, maybe I should have handled things better. But it's also like their higher self coming through, because I feel like their human self is still a little bit confused and kind of honestly like, well, I don't know. Like, I still don't know if pile number 4 had any feelings or not. I feel like their human self is still very confused. And again, some of them think of you as just like this impermeable, perfect, almost goddess or god. And so why would they need me? Why would they want me? I feel like it's something that they almost didn't realize. For some of you guys, this may be even like pain you're feeling of like, Why wasn't this person here for me when I was going through this time? Like, I know how much I valued this person and I know how much I needed them at that time, and they just weren't there. They didn't show up for me the way they were supposed to. And I feel like if that's the case, just know that this person may regret that. They may feel like, yeah, I really dropped the ball with that, but I wasn't sure. I didn't know if you needed me or not. I didn't know if I was that important or special to you or not. And I feel like in a way, some of them were afraid too, because they could feel the depths of this connection. They could feel everything it would entail, and it may have even scared them off on some level. Let me get into some tarot for you. Pile number 4. You want to know how pile number 4's person feels towards pile 4. So we got the 7 of Cups, the Page of Swords upright, actually, the Page of Wands reversed, and this is the Justice card reversed. So this person may be feeling like there's an element of karma here, bad karma, maybe on their end. Maybe feeling like, ooh, I didn't step up and I know I should have. And that may be something they regret or they look back on and they're like, I did not handle that the right way. And I kind of wonder if I'm gonna get bad karma, wonder if there's gonna be some kind of payback, because like I just know I did not handle that correctly. With the 7 of Cups as well, this person could have been a little bit almost delusional, thinking about how maybe, oh, this could happen and that could happen. And they could kind of have been that person that had this pie in the sky idea of all the different scenarios and how it could work out, and kind of been lost in that. The 7 of Cups can be where we are delusional. It can be where we don't see things clearly. It can be where we imagine scenarios that are never actually going to exist, never actually going to happen. And this person may have been not fully aware of how much your situation mattered. Like, in a way, this could have been someone who fumbled things or bungled things or messed things up because it wasn't clicking in their head how temporary things were or how fleeting things were. For example, someone who doesn't ask you out because they're like, oh, they're always going to be around. I'll ask them next Tuesday. I'll ask them on Monday. I'll ask them on Friday. And sooner or later, something will happen. Not even paying attention to the fact that it's temporary. And then like randomly you quit your job and you don't show up the next day and they're just like, huh, wait, what happened? Because they think you're always going to be there. There's a part of them that it's not clicking for them, and they don't even want to let it click, because again, they may have been intimidated. There may have been a part of them that was afraid of rejection, so they kind of just like ignore reality in the way that like a little kid who doesn't want to hear something may cover their ears and sing like, la la la, I can't hear you. That can be how some people act when they're faced with something that like they really want or really intimidates them, or they're really afraid of losing that, because those things can be intimidating. They can be hard to deal with emotionally. So I feel like there's a part of them that isn't as comfortable in that space of the Page of Wands, of rushing in and making things happen and being bold about it. The Page of Wands is a very bold energy. It's a very confident energy. This person may not have had the confidence. The Page of Wands goes after what it wants fully, like definitively. Like there's no confusion about it. There's no overthinking or like maybe they meant this or maybe they're into that. It's like the Page of Wands wants it with this full force and this full strength, and they're going to go after it and they're going to do it and they're going to make it happen. And I feel like for you guys, this person may have kind of not been able to step into that energy. I feel like in a way they're saying you gave them certain signals, but they didn't read it. It's almost like they were so second guessing themselves. They were so not self-confident that they couldn't pick up on what you were putting down. They couldn't take that and run with it, because there was a part of them that really does think of you as out of their league. So why would you even be interested in them in the first place? That's basically impossible. And I feel like this person may have even felt more comfortable kind of like hiding under the guise of like, oh, we're just friends, or we're just joking around, or this isn't so serious. And they may have even told themselves that, like, Yeah, I mean, pile number 4 is hot, but anyway, like, it's not that serious. I don't care about them like that. Meanwhile, they actually do, and they were catching feelings. But they didn't want to have to admit that to themselves because then they would feel vulnerable. So I feel like, in a way, some of them may have even disguised themselves under the guise of, like, I'm a jokester, or I'm laughing, or I'm just having fun with this. They may even be feeling some guilt, with that justice card coming out reversed of, I should have handled things differently, and kind of processing that and kind of looking into that. I feel like that takes a lot of self-reflection though, because there is a part of this that, like, this behavior wasn't just limited to you. I think that's something we sometimes all make a mistake on, where someone is mean to us or rude or doesn't treat us right and we just assume it's like about us, whereas the reality is, like, that guy who has road rage and is like cutting you off and giving you the finger and just being a total jerk on the road, I guarantee he's also doing that kind of behavior with, like, the cashier or his kids or his coworkers, because he's obviously not a very functional person. And by the same token, I feel like this person, some of this was just their own issues with a lack of self-worth, a lack of confidence. I also am getting the vibe that they're telling me this person was not looking for a relationship or a deep, deep connection when they met you. I feel like, if anything, you may have encouraged them to step out of that and want more and ask for more. But I do feel like when they first met you, it's like they were not looking for that at all. There was a part of them that just assumed that, like, that was not going to happen for them, and that they were kind of, I don't want to say over it, but maybe over that phase in their life, or just like very clueless about it. Like, oh, it's not going to happen for me now. And I'm not looking for anything that deep. Maybe I'm looking for something very fun. Whereas I feel like they felt very moved by their connection with you and also kind of scared of that. Like, they just were like, wait, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if this is something that I can actually handle. So yeah, I feel like for them, it's definitely a connection that took them by surprise, and their higher self is acknowledging that they probably didn't handle it in the best way. I want to get into some more tarot for you guys. So let's see what cards we're going to get for pile 4. How does pile 4's person feel towards pile 4? We got the Hermit. So this person may be stuck in a mode of feeling hyper independent, doing their own thing, maybe even a fear of intimacy or commitment. They may have that runner vibe where when things get really intimate, things get really intense, they just run away. They kind of can't handle it. They kind of can't deal, because it's like, oh, this is just too much for me. And I'm used to doing my own thing. I'm used to being on my own, or I feel more comfortable there. Even if this person is in relationships, they may be in the kind of relationships that just don't ask a lot of them. Relationships that aren't soul deep, relationships that aren't really pulling from their emotions and drawing from their soul, but relationships instead that may just be easy, with someone that doesn't demand that much of them, someone that doesn't see through their BS. I feel like things were a lot deeper with you, and they may be just in that energy of kind of taking the easy way out, doing what just isn't that hard. And that may be how they kind of decide who they're going to date and everything, is just like, who is just super, it just falls into my lap and makes things happen. They may even wait for the other person to do the pursuing, and they just kind of sit back and react to it. And I feel like for them, they almost don't feel comfortable in that energy where they have to pursue and they have to go after it. And again, like I said, I feel like this bleeds into other areas of their life as well. There may have been business deals that they let fall through, or career moves that they let fall through. It feels like they're just not a go-getter. They're not that person that's going to go out and light the world on fire and make it happen and just run in and, like, go in with such energy. That just does not feel like their energy. Their energy feels like they kind of fumble things, or when the going gets tough, they run away. Or when they get intimidated, they make a joke about the situation to downplay it. And they don't want to acknowledge there may have even been an energy of this person being slightly competitive with you, or intimidated by you, or intimidated by other people in your life, like an ex, like friends, or wondering if they can even be on your level and be around you because they do feel not good enough. Let's get some more cards for you. Pile number 4. How does pile number 4's person feel towards pile 4? We got the 4 of Cups. Okay. Oh, that's a perfect energy for this person. Okay, so we got the Four of Pentacles and the Three of Cups reversed. Wow. So whenever we get the Three of Cups reversed, sometimes it can be someone that is dating around, someone that isn't being super monogamous and loyal. The Three of Cups can be someone who is dating multiple people or even cheating, depending, especially when it's reversed. I feel like in a way this person has tried to kind of fulfill themselves by being with other people, dating around, dating others, but it hasn't really worked because I feel like their mind does constantly go back to you. Their mind is definitely more focused on you, and I feel like they don't feel that connection with others. But again, I also feel like that's something that this person really enjoys. Like they kind of, it's almost like they're afraid of the real thing. You know, have you ever met someone that like they're only comfortable with jokes? They're only comfortable with like lighthearted, not really talking about anything substantial, kind of just keeping things very surface level. And a lot of times, if you are like a Plutonian person, heavy Scorpio, like if you have a Scorpio Mercury, Scorpio Sun, Moon, you can trigger this person or have a prominent Pluto in your chart, like Pluto in the first house. Pluto conjuncting a major inner planet or aspecting a major planet, you can very much trigger this person because they are just so not ready for the truth. They're just so not ready for that life altering, soul altering conversation. And it's almost like, you know, if you want to talk about something very fundamental going on or talk about like something that made you cry or something that was very upsetting to you, and the person just pivots and all they can talk about is like, well, we're going to have fun, or let me tell this joke, or like, let's just keep things casual. Let's not talk about that. And I feel like there's a vibe here with this person seeking out those kinds of relationships, you know, like they don't want to get triggered. They don't want to dive down deep. They don't want it to be hard. They don't want to have to work through any issues. They just want things to kind of fall into their lap in a way. They don't want their ego threatened. They don't want someone who can call them on their BS. They just want something that is easy, something that is fun, something that is lighthearted. And I feel like a part of them ran away from this connection for that reason. They may have even felt a smug sense of satisfaction, kind of like, well, you thought I was going to step up to the plate like that, and you thought we could have this argument. Well, I'm not putting up with any arguments. And almost now realizing what they lost, because the Four of Cups can definitely talk about when you don't see that opportunity that Spirit is giving you, when you don't see how deep the connection goes, or you're not really appreciating everything that Spirit has aligned for you, because the Four of Cups energy shows a gift from Spirit, and it shows someone who's not paying attention to that. And so it can be something that is a once in a lifetime event or a very special event or something that doesn't come along often, and it can show someone who is bumbling or fumbling that and just not even noticing, not even realizing how rare and special and important it is. Because I'm seeing an image of someone being given like a very expensive diamond, like say the Hope diamond, which is worth like tens of millions or hundreds of millions. And just like being like, oh, what is this? Oh, that's a pretty stone. That's a nice rock. Anyway, and not even getting it and like dropping it into a river, or just like, you know, like, I don't know, giving it away to someone while they're gambling and just like not realizing what they have, you know? And I feel like with this person, they honestly, some of them who are in this pile, they're not very self aware. They haven't actually gotten to the point of reflecting on it and fully realizing. I feel like their higher self has, but their lower self, a lot of the lower selves of this energy could be people that like it still hasn't clicked. And there's still that part of them that just thinks, hey, whatever, and is just so focused on having fun, doing what's easy, that they're not going to realize until later what they missed out on when they really feel that absence and that kind of lack. Because I feel like if this person is in another relationship, that relationship is just not fulfilling them. And again, it's giving someone who has like a fear of Pluto. Like Pluto is destruction. It is seeing something so deeply. Pluto rules the plumbing system. I always love, reminding people of that, because the plumbing system is so underrated. It goes underneath the city. We don't see it. We never realize the complexity of it until like a pipe clogs, or the water is not working, or, you know, the water dries up, or the water gets contaminated. But when that happens, it's basically catastrophic. Like water, just plumbing itself has led to so many like life life being extended, like life expectancy growing, people being able to live in sanitation. When the water goes out, like things can get really bad really quick. And the plumbing takes care of that. But a lot of people don't even think about the plumbing. They don't even want to know about it. It's like, ew, gross, you know? And that's what Pluto rules over. Pluto loves to explore those darker things, those hidden things, the deep part of our psychology, see all those hidden crevices. That's also why Pluto rules sexuality, because it's seeing someone in their most genuinely naked and unprotected form, right? And by the same token, a lot of people are terrified of Pluto energy because Pluto means death. It means rebirth. It means transforming who you are. And a lot of people aren't ready for that. They just want things to be calm. They just want things to be nice. It's almost giving like low vibrational dysfunctional Libra vibes of someone who just can't handle the truth, can't face it, can't deal with it. And I feel like with this person, you were looking for something so much deeper. You saw this person on like a soul level, and this person may just be content with like keeping things very surface. And they may even seek out those relationships that are just very surface, but are really unfulfilling in the long term. It's kind of reminding me of like how, you know, how sometimes you'll be like, maybe it's the holidays and I'm just going to eat some like not so healthy foods. Like we just had Thanksgiving. So I was eating, you know, pumpkin pie and stuffing and like casseroles that aren't super healthy and like all of that. And the thing is that I did feel like after a couple of days of that, I was like, ooh, I do not feel so good. I think I need like a big salad. I need some veggies or something because I just do not feel my best. And it's so funny how quickly that happens, at least if you're a moon in the sixth house person like me. I feel that right away if I'm like unhealthy for a while. But I think that that goes for a lot of us. Like we might go to have a fun weekend and we're drinking with friends and we're having like cakes and, you know, pizza and candy and stuff. And we're not really eating anything substantial. And it's like at a certain point, you start being like, oh, I need something to eat. I need like a piece of meat and a veggie and I need a salad and I need something substantial to fill me up. Like no more slices of pizza, no more ice creams, no more candy. I just need to eat something that's really going to fill me and nourish me. And it's almost like this person is stuck in that vibe of eating like a bunch of candy and not realizing how unfulfilled they are, not realizing how hungry they still are for the real connection. And I feel like that may come later, or when that happens late at night, that's when they have thoughts of you. Let's get into some song cards for you. Pile number 4. So we got I Thought I Saw Your Face Today, She and Him. Okay. Let's see. Wait for Me, Hall & Oates. So this person may want you to wait for them. Pillow Talk, Zayn. This one is Romeo, Chairlift. Silver Springs, Fleetwood Mac. It's Too Late, Carole King. And let's get a couple more. Wildflower, Beach House. And So Hot, You're Hurting My Feelings, Caroline Polachek. So yeah, I feel like this person was drawn to you like in spite of themselves with Wildflower by Beach House. They may feel like, and I'm hearing the lyrics from also Miley Cyrus, Can't Be Tamed, where she's like, I can't be tamed. And I feel like Wildflower, it's giving me a similar vibe. Like there's something wild about you. There's something untamable about you. There's something that you wouldn't do what this person wanted, or you weren't willing to settle for what they wanted, or there was a part of you that was always wanting more from them. There was a part of you that was always like encouraging them to go deeper. And I feel like this person could have really embraced that growth, but instead they kind of ran from it. They kind of got triggered by it. They may feel much more comfortable in that Romeo role of feeling like, oh, I'm dating around, I'm getting my ego stroked. This person's obsessed with me. This person's so into me. This person does what I want. I call the shots in this relationship. And that may feel like the safer territory for this person than having to go soul deep, having to make themselves vulnerable, having to admit that they screwed up at times, or that, you know, they've made mistakes, or whatever the case may be. I feel like there's a part of them that almost may have deliberately sabotaged things and maybe thought you were going to come back and fix it, but you didn't and you went off on your own way, or you did your own thing, or you were just like, no, I'm good. Okay. I wish you the best of luck, whatever. But they may have thought that, like, okay, wait, I thought you were going to run after me and I need that for my ego. I feel like they're used to getting that kind of validation from others, but something about you, like, you weren't willing to. Even so hot, you're hurting my feelings. It almost reminds me of, like, I feel like some of you guys had a really strong sense of self-worth and you were like, no, I'm not going to run after you. I'm good on that. And okay, you can be alone, or you can date others, whatever. And it almost like, I'm hearing that, like, the meme from Michael Jordan where he's like, and I took that personally, and he's crying. I feel like that's a vibe here too. Like, they took it personally that you were standing on, your own dignity. You were kind of standing like 10 toes down and you were like, no, I'm not going to run after you. I am going to stand up for myself. And I feel like this person kind of wanted you to, and there may have been a part of their ego that didn't even let them acknowledge that they were sad about that. Like, they may have told themselves, like, who cares, whatever. But over time, I feel like they do feel this loneliness and this feeling of like, I don't actually feel this level of connection with others. Like, I feel so connected to pile number 4, but I just don't have that same feeling when I deal with this person. But that person gives me the attention I want, so I'm going to go with them because they're easier. And pile 4 requires more of me. Like, I feel like you had higher standards for this person than they were willing to step up to, and a part of their ego just wouldn't let them. A part of their ego was like, no, you're not going to beg. You're not going to be a simp. You're not going to, be desperate. So they ran away from that, but it's almost like they wanted you to be desperate. They wanted you to be a simp. They wanted you to be begging. And I feel like you just refused to engage. So yeah, I feel like this person, they're doing a lot of that repression. They're doing a lot of pushing their feelings away, pretending like they don't care, telling themselves that, like, hey, it's not a big deal, whatever. Even though I feel like they do care deep down and it is hard for them, but they're running, they're doing a lot of distracting. They're doing a lot of, like, immersing themselves in other things, in other people, maybe dating around, trying to get their mind on that, off that, trying to distract themselves. And the realization may come later. Their higher self is aware of it, but I feel like for their human self, they're still in this kind of dysfunctional, I'm seeing a hamster running on a wheel type energy of just like, it's almost like they keep, I'm hearing that definition of insanity is doing the same thing twice. That's what I'm hearing in my mind. And I feel like this person keeps doing the same behavior and then being like, why do I wake up and just feel so unfulfilled? Why am I miserable in this relationship? Even though this person does everything for me, it just doesn't give me that spark. And again, I feel like they're very allergic to self-reflection and diving down deep. So that's what kind of keeps them in this dysfunctional energy, unsatisfied and unhappy. And they could make themselves vulnerable and step up to you, but I just feel like this person isn't really capable of that. So yeah, that is what I have for you. Pile number 4. I really hope that resonates, guys. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon. I just posted readings all about who is coming towards you, as well as the early part of 2025 in more detail. But there is so much content to choose from over on Patreon. I can't even keep track of all the videos I post because new ones go up all the time. And you also get, like I said, to be the first to watch my YouTube videos. They always go up on Patreon first. So if that sounds good to you and that's something you're interested in, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and join me on Patreon. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, open channeling, a combination, whether you want it to be pre-recorded or live, you get to customize your session with me, so it's the perfect time for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and yeah, sign up for a little session with me. And the link for that is in my description, by the way. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.